About once a year I take my workbench and I sand it down, make it all smooth again, get rid of all the glue bumps and all the scratches in it. This year I decided to do something a little bit different. I picked up a Shaper Origin, which is a handheld CNC router, and you start off by laying down this domino tape. What this is doing is setting a grid pattern for the computer. Then you take the CNC router and you scan that in, and it basically collates the computer on the router with the work surface. So by scanning it back and forth, it gives the router a place in space so it knows where it's at in correlation with the workbench. I input a design I came up with and I lay that out right where I want it, in this case center of the bench. I tell the CNC router what size bit I have, how deep do I want it, do I want to go inside the line, outside the line, all those things. It's all programmed right there. Then basically from there all you do is you're moving around the CNC router and you're keeping that round circle, if you see on the screen there, over that dotted line. And as long as you're doing that, you have perfect size. What's happening is the CNC, the spindle, the actual router itself is separate from the carrier. So if you see there, I'm moving the whole thing and the computer is controlling the spindle. So it's basically saying, follow this line. So no matter how much I move, as long as I keep that circle over that dotted line, I'll have a nice straight cut. With the addition of this tool to the shop, it's really opening up a lot of possibilities that you couldn't even do with the traditional CNC. Once you're all done, you just pull the tape up and you're ready for the next step. I use an upcut bit, so that caused a little bit of burr around the cutting surface edge. So I go back with the 80 grit sandpaper in this case and just knock those down, and now you can start to see how nice and clean those cuts are. You can never do that by hand. Once that's done, I grab the West Systems Epoxy, which is one of my two favorites to go to. If you're a wood boater, you definitely know about this stuff. I'm a fan of red and white, so that's our company colors. I give a couple scoops into the resin, mix it up for about 3 minutes, and you're good to go. And I like using these bird feeder dropper thingies, syringes. I buy them in bulk from Amazon, but this resin's gone up in price. It's very expensive stuff compared to what it was a few years ago. So this is a great way to control it, nice neat work surface, and you're not wasting it. I used to just dump it on the table and spread it around, but now I like being able to do it this way, so it's nice, neat, clean, and you're not spilling or wasting as much. Once I get it all filled, I grab my propane torch, and this is a pretty important step. This is going to go through and pop all those bubbles that come up, and I typically do it 2 or 3 times throughout the curing process, and I didn't this time, and it comes back and bites me in the butt. Next day I came back, grabbed the 5-inch Rotex sander and some 80 grit, and smoothed everything out, blow it off with air compressor. And because I was lazy and didn't come back that night and pop more air bubbles, a bunch got stuck in there. So once I sanded, it traps dust in there, so I had to go back with the awl and dig them all out by hand. And then once they're all dug out and cleaned, I go back with some CA glue, which is just a fancy word for super glue. And then I fill all those voids, use the awl, make sure there's no more air encapsulated in there, and then hit it with the accelerator, and it's instantly dry and ready for sanding. Once all the CA glue is dry, come back with the 6-inch sander, some 120 grit sandpaper, and just go over the whole bench and get it ready for the finish. Once it's all sanded, I come back with the odorless mineral spirits. This is a great way to clean all that dust off and prep the surface for finish. This also gives you a sneak peek of the final product's going to look like. I like to use a product called Osmo. It's a hard wax finish, and it's a really great option for a project like this. It was originally designed for hardwood floors, but you're seeing people use it more and more on furniture projects as well. It's easy to use and super durable. Perfect for a workbench. I just buy these cheap plastic spreaders on Amazon, work it in across the grain from end to end. Then I come back with my 11-inch buffer and a white pad and just go back and forth each direction 2 or 3 times and really work it into the surface. After a few passes with the buffer, I like to grab a white clean t-shirt and just work back and forth with the grain, a little extra buffing, and really makes that stand out. After buffing it out, I let it sit overnight, and the next day I was back to work. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.